Hello everyone. Today we are going to talk about a man who changed the world with his smile, his cars, and his forgiveness heart. His name is Nelson Mandela. People in South Africa lovingly called him Madiba. He was a leader, a fighter, and the father of modern South Africa. But above all, he was a symbol of hope. His life teaches us that no matter how hard the struggle is, justice and love always win in the end. Let us look into his beautiful and inspiring journey. Nelson Mandela was born on July 18, 1918 in a small village called Mbizo. But he grew up in a beautiful village named Kuno. His birth was Roli Lahala, which means the troublemaker in his local language. Later, a school teacher gave him the English name Nelson. As a young boy, Nelson lived a very simple life. He looked after cattle, played with friends in the fields, and listened to stories of his tribal elders. These elders talked about a time when South African people lived in peace before white settlers took their land. These stories planted a seed into young Nelson's heart. He wanted to make his people free. When Mandela grew up, he went to the big city of Johannesburg to study law. There he saw a painful reality. South Africa was ruled by a system called Apprethide. Apprethide means separateness. It was a cruel law made by the white government. Under this law, white people and black people had to live completely separately. Black people could not vote. They could not go to some schools, hospitals, or beaches as white people. They were treated like strangers into their own country. Mandela's heart ached seeing this injustice. He decided he could not stay quiet. Mandela became a lawyer. He opened the first black law firm in South Africa with his friend Oliver Tambo. They helped poor black people who were treated badly by the law. Soon Mandela joined the ANC, African National Congress. He traveled across the country telling people to stand up for their rights. At first Mandela believed in peaceful protests, just like Mahatma Gandhi. They held marches and strikes, but the government responded to that terrible violence. They beat and killed innocent protesters. After a peaceful protest turned into a bloody massacre in a place called Sharpeville, Mandela realized that peace alone was not working against a cruel government. The government banned the ANC. Mandela had to go into hiding. He became the leader of secret army group. He wrote discussing, sometimes acting as a driver, sometimes as a chief, to hide from the police. The newspapers called him the Black Rimpernel because the police could not catch him. He traveled to another countries to get support for his people's freedom. In 1962, the police finally caught Nelson Mandela. He was put on trial for trying to overthrow the government. This was the famous Rivonia trial. In the courtroom, Mandela did not beg for mercy. Instead, he made a famous speech. He said, "I have fought against the white domination and I have fought against black domination. I have cherished the ideal of a democratic and free society. It is an ideal which I hope to live for and to achieve. But it needs be. It is an ideal for which I am prepared to die." The judge did not sentence him to death, but he gave him life imprisonment. Mandela was sent to Robben Island, a lonely prison surrounded by the cold ocean. His cell was so small that when he lay down, his feet touched the wall. He spent 18 years on this island. Every day he had to break hard rocks in a limestone to carry under the hot sun. The dust hurt his eyes permanently, but the prison guards could not break his spirit. Mandela started a prison university. He educated other prisoners, studied books, and even learned the language of his white guards, so he could talk to them and understand them. Years passed. Mandela was moved to another prison. In total, he spent 27 years behind bars. While he was in prison, the world did not forgive him. Outside, the fight against apartheid became stronger. Millions of people around the world started protesting. Musicians sang songs for him. World leaders demanded free Nelson Mandela. The South African government faced huge pressure. The country was in sores and the economy was falling. They realized they could not control the country anymore without Mandela. Finally, the historic day arrived. On February 11, 1990, Nelson Mandela walked out of prison as a free man. He was 71 years old. Thousands of people gathered outside the prison's gates to cheer for him. Millions of watched on TV. They walked out holding the hand of his wife, Winnie. With his fist raised in the air, he was smiling. He did not look angry or full of revenge. He looked ready to help the nation. Mandela worked with the white president, F.W. de Klerk, to end apartheid peacefully. For their hard work, they both won the Nobel Peace Prize in 1993. In 1994, South Africa held its first democratic elections where people of all races could vote. For the first time in his life, Nelson Mandela voted. The ANC won, and Nelson Mandela became the first black president of South Africa. Instead of punishing the white people who harmed his community, Mandela shows forgiveness. He brought black and white people together, forming what we now call the Rainbow Nation. Mandela served as president for only one term and then stepped down to let younger leaders take over. Even in retirement, he worked for children, peace and health awareness. On December 5, 2013, Nelson Mandela passed away at the age of 95. The whole world cried for him. Mandela showed us that a single person can change the world not with weapons but with willpower, love and forgiveness. He noticed, he once said, it always seems impossible until it is done. Thank you for listening to the story of a true hero. May his lessons live in our hearts forever. Thank you.